Thank you. Second last question, then I'll go on with the last. How much do these vaccines cost the taxpayers every year? Rotavirus, Hep B and meningococcal ACWY.
Senator, I don't have the individual breakdowns of those vaccines, but what I can tell you, in 24-25, the National Immunisation Program, which includes a raft of supporting activities.
Is that childhood vaccine?
No, this is the full complement of National Immunisation Program vaccines and also other activities like communications and data collection, for example. We spent $762.8 million.
$750 million. Is there any chance of getting the breakout for the children's vaccines?
It'll be dependent on whether that information is commercial in confidence, but I'll take that on notice and get back to you.
Thank you.
And if I may also, Senator, sorry, just to add, I've mentioned previously that the regulator is involved in balancing the risk and benefit. I just would highlight that it would be difficult to talk to the cost of vaccines unless we also recognise that these vaccine-preventable diseases cause an incredible burden of mortality, morbidity and cost. And in fact, in the US, RSV is the leading infectious cause of paediatric hospitalisation. So the risk-benefit is actually as important as the cost.
Thank you. That's a good point, Professor Lawler. Perhaps if you could include in that the benefits.
Certainly, Senator.
Thank you. Denmark, Sweden, Norway, France and the Netherlands do not recommend rotavirus vaccines except for high-risk cases. Varicella vaccine Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland, France, Portugal, not recommended except high-risk cases. Hepatitis B, not recommended for routine use in Denmark, Norway, Finland, UK, Britain, France, Germany, Netherlands. Surely the default is don't vaccinate unless the need has been established. Can you show me any of these countries where the absence of the vaccination has led to a higher incidence of child harm, not infection, harm, than vaccinated countries?
Senator, if I may, as my colleague Professor Lawler has outlined, it's very difficult to compare different countries, and that's really because there's different disease impact in each different country, which can be related to public health measures that are in place and also different diseases that are circulating. We also have different funding mechanisms. In Australia, we're very fortunate to be in a country that has a program that provides vaccines for free that are recommended by our advisors. So we're very fortunate in that sense. So what I'd say, Senator, is it's very difficult to compare one country to another in terms of how they fund or recommend their vaccines. But what I will do is throw to Associate Professor Catherine Gibney, who may be able to give you an idea about some of the assessment and information that they take into account when they recommend vaccines in the Australian context.
Thank you. So certainly ATAGI takes the epidemiology and burden of disease of each of these vaccine preventable diseases into account as we consider who to recommend the vaccines for. So establishing a clinical need, which isn't just infection. In fact, counting numbers of infections is not particularly interesting. It's hospitalisations and severe disease and death that we're particularly interested in, or long-term consequences that could be prevented through vaccination. So that's really what we look at when the first question is there a need for a vaccine? And then we look at the vaccine considering that TGA has already assessed the effectiveness and the safety. We further review that in the context of the clinical need. And then further to that, when we provide advice to PBAC, they look not only at the clinical effectiveness and need, but also the cost effectiveness. So ATAGI don't assess that, but that is assessed for every vaccine before a recommendation is made that it's added to the need.
Well, if you could show me anywhere where the absence of the vaccination has led to more hospitalisations and more deaths.